Nobody ever thought that way. Well, I think you have a lot of people that would be interested in taking that with the United States as part of it. One of the better feelings. Well, we're very experienced. You would say nobody's ever had experience like I had. I've dealt with some very good people. I've dealt with some very bad people, and I know the bad ones are and the good ones. So don't forget, I was very successful in primarily the real estate business. People used to say, who's worse, a politician or a vicious real estate developer? And I would say, the real estate developer is far worse. But after about 3 months and getting to know scum like Adam Schiff and other people like that, I said, no, actually, real estate people are quite nice by comparison. What about President? Yeah, he's told me he wants to make a deal. He wants to make. Zelensky wants to make it.
Of course he does.
Big trouble. You take a look at their economy. You take a look at the inflation. So I would hope I could go on with it.
Trump is talking that ish right now, man.
Much better because it keeps your dollar stronger. I think tariffs are more effective. I use sanctions on Iran. Iran was broke. When I left office, Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas.
And shout out to Lou Valentino. He actually found a consistent live stream. They kept cutting the other one. So shout out to Lou. So we could watch Trump make history, signing these beautiful executive orders to protect our borders, to bring back business and industry, to solve the energy crisis as well. Remember, drill, baby, drill. That's what we're doing day one.
Executive order relating to reforms to the federal workforce, including the senior executive service.
We're getting rid of all of the cancer. I call it cancer. The cancer caused by the Biden administration. It's not our war, it's their war, but I'm not confident, but I think they're very weakened on the other side.
In all of Biden's 4 years of presidency, we've never heard him speak as much as Trump has, just since he's been signing these executive orders. The press has never had this much transparency from Biden.
Dallas is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, best weather. Everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it, but it's very interesting. But some fantastic things could be done with Dallas. You certainly can't have the people that were there. Most of them are dead. Most of them are dead. But they didn't exactly run it well. But viciously and badly. So you can't have that.
Look at that signature. Look at it go. I think he's doing 78 executive orders today.
China charges us tax, we charge that very little, except for what I did. I put a lot of hundreds of billions of dollars. But until I came along, China never paid 10 cents to this country. They ripped us off and they never paid anything. But
Everybody's been ripping us off. So we're gonna get half of TikTok, $500 billion. With the US, it's worth $1 trillion. Without the United States, it's worth zero. So Trump said, I think we should get half. My God, the king of the deal. the king of the freaking deal. Come on, let's go, Trump. It's about to snow here, a little weather.
He was used properly, disrespecting him. When Hillary was running, he came back and he said, you know, you better get up to Michigan and Wisconsin. You remember that? Every house has a Trump sign on it. And they all left. The Republicans had won Michigan and Wisconsin for decades.
And we know why that was. Detroit, Pontiac. They always vote against their own interests.
So won both. And then we just won both of the selections. We won Wisconsin and Michigan and every
Shit,
other
Grand
state.
Rapids
We won
too.
all the swing
Muskegon,
states. All of them.
Lansing,
About
unfortunately.
7 swing states, we won them all. But Bill Clinton was, he had a great political sense. I think. I was. And you'd like to know what. Everybody wants to know.
Everybody does want to know. Oh man.
You know, I don't think you want to know. So,
It's an executive order relating to holding former government.
This is history right now. Could you imagine? I mean, this is amazing. Being alive during the Trump years, being able to go live and talk to people about Trump signing all these executive orders on his first day back in, the 45th and the 47th president, this is history. This is history. I'm just happy to be here to report on it, talk about it. My president's back. And for you communists that don't like it, there are flights leaving the country every hour on the hour. Go ahead and get on one and find you a country with a better leader that's not Trump. Get the hell out. You know, but if you stay here, that's complying. If you stay, that's you basically signing a compliance letter that you agree with the agenda. I hope you stay. I hope you don't leave.
Let's go. Find out about the drones, guys. He's keeping his promises.
Yeah, he's going to talk to us about the drones. He's already talking about it.
Maybe do a testing phase. No security. Because then everything shut down to drugs. You can shut that down pretty easily. They're very sophisticated. No, it was just called, and we made a good move because, first of all, I thought it was incredible on the Capitol. You know what I like? So that speech. I can't really, can you believe that they have to be fair? Maybe the fake news is changing. But, yeah,
Unleashing energy production.
but I thought it was, I think, obviously, you can take care of the people you have to take care of. The city was booming. And we would have done, some people would have been hurt because it was really cold. You know, it was like, looked sunny. But when you stood outside for 10 minutes, people were running back. It was really cold and really windy. The wind brings it down a lot. So, make the right decision. You couldn't have stayed. I don't think you could have. You don't have all of this. It was, people went out for a little while just to test it. They couldn't stay out more than 10 minutes. They all came back. So we would have had a disaster if we did that. And people would have been hurt.
Yeah, why risk it? Shit, it's all about your preference. You don't want to be outside in the cold? Don't be outside in the cold. Do it inside, Trump. Let those idiots go stand outside and do what they want to do and freeze. You don't have to, bro.
I was surprised that President Biden would go and pardon his own family. Because I got to pardon my family. I got to pardon myself, my family. I said, if I do that, it's going to make me look very good. I don't think I'd be sitting here right now. If I did that, I'm not going to be sitting here right now. So, show that you go. But by pardoning his brother or brothers, by pardoning all of those people that he pardoned, by pardoning J6, the unselect committee destroyed all of the documents. They deleted all of the information. There's no information. And a lot of the information pertains to Nancy Pelosi because she was given one on, you know this, it's on tape with her daughter. Nancy Pelosi was responsible for not taking advantage of 10,000 soldiers or 1,000. You wouldn't need, you could have used 400. It was a relatively small crowd. It wasn't the crowd that was at the mall. It was a small crowd.
Pelosi orchestrated it. They wanted that to happen on J6. And they thought they could use that to keep Trump out of office, and they were dead wrong.
It's unbelievable precedent it creates for a president. But the precedent is unbelievable. Now maybe every president that leaves office, they're going to pardon every person they ever met.
If you're listening to this or you're watching this, do me a favor and hit the like button, subscribe. America First Daily News.
Well, I guess now I have precedent to do it. I wouldn't want to do that. No, I think it makes you look very guilty. I think it makes Biden look very bad, very weak, and very guilty. This J6 committee, why is he pardoning them? The reason is because if you delete and destroy documentation, everything, because they were guilty as hell. They
were guilty as hell.
Liz Cheney, which is a lunatic.
She is. She is a
She
lunatic.
lost by the greatest margin in the history of a politician running for Congress, like 40 points. The reason it was the greatest is because anybody losing that victory is going to drop out. But she's a nut job. She doesn't drop out. She just keeps chucking forward. And she lost by almost 40 points. It's the biggest number anybody's ever lost by. But why would Biden pardon everybody? The reason is that they destroy documents. And you're even in a civil case, which is what I think people go to jail for a long time. What's this one?
That's unleashing American energy, sir. Relates to using permitting processes and other regulatory systems to ensure that we produce energy efficiently to drive the American economy forward. Right. Looking around and I'm like, those changes. So if I had to confirm,
First of all, I just got so many people came in. They have extraordinary decorators, right? You just see some of the pictures. That's a good one. I can live with him.
Someone said, what about the drones? He already said about the drones that he will, Susan Wiles, his chief of staff, will look it up. So we're going to be, he said he's going to be releasing that as soon as possible.
George Washington. I can live with him. He said, I can live with most of them. They took a safe route. What is this?
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization.
And withdrawing from the World Health Organization, the WHO, which I end every broadcast saying, fuck the World Health Organization, fuck the World Economic Forum, and fuck Klaus Schwab. And this is why.
Seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out. They offered me to come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but uh, wanted us back someday, so we'll see what happens.
Trump pardoned 1,500 J6ers.
China
Amazing.
pays 39 million,
Bring them home. They're coming home.
and China's
We got more patriots that are going to be free and going to be back in the population, and we need them now more than ever. We can never again go back down the path we just luckily escaped from. Can't go back down there.
biggest thing for inflation is energy. They screwed up my energy policy. And
Absolutely.
really badly. Started drilling more, but it's too late. These things that we're signing, and Doug Burgum is going to be signing. Chris Wright is phenomenal. Energy Department of Energy. We're taking a lot. We make a lot of money from energy. We're more than anybody else. We're going to make a lot of money from this. We're going to make a lot of money from tariffs. You know, European Union charges us never met tax of 20%, but it's really much higher than that. And that's the equivalent, almost the equivalent of the tariff.
I'll be honest with you. Since this all started this morning, Trump has been going nonstop. Since everything first began this morning, I've had to take 2 naps. This man is still going crazy. He's still talking to people. He's still awake. This is amazing.
Before they have to buy oil. The one thing they can do to catch up quickly, buy oil. They should do. We may put it rapid because essentially all countries take advantage of the US. We don't make any deals in the US. It's amazing it exists. We don't make good deals. We don't have any good deals. We're with almost, not all, there are a couple I won't tell you. Because I don't want them to find out. But there are a couple of countries that don't make money. But I want to let you know. Change that. So you want to keep them from. He had a lot of those guys. And then they found out they didn't know what he was talking about. I think they deserted him. They deserted him.
Non-stop signings to reverse everything Biden screwed up.
There are a lot of smart people around, but they did desert. They were all with him, every one of them. Now they were all with me.
Hopefully BLM will go protest him reversing all these Biden policies. I mean, they did so much for BLM, right? The Biden policies, every black person and gay person in America is a billionaire now, right? Let's see. Let's see what the results have been when the smoke clears tomorrow.
Protecting women from radical gender ideologies.
He said, ooh.
rips off the United States. That's it. It's not gonna happen anymore. Thank you very much, everybody. All right. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys can hear me. That will.
Amazing. Amazing. Let's go back to some more live coverage.
Or as President Trump would say, you gotta fight. Woo! How good was it to see our president back in command? President Trump. What do you think?
But until I came along, China never paid 10 cents to this country. They ripped us off and they never paid anything. But like, if we wanted to make a deal with TikTok and it was a good deal, and China wouldn't approve it, then I think ultimately they'd approve it because we'd put tariffs on China. Maybe. I'm not saying I would, but you certainly could do that. And we said, well, if you're not going to approve it, then that's a certain hostility, and we'll put tariffs of 25, 30, 40, 50%, even 100%. And we did that, I think.
But if the CEO of TikTok was not lying to us when he said that the Chinese Communist Party wasn't in control of TikTok, then why would we have to ask the Chinese for permission? I thought he said he was from Singapore.
When Hillary was running, he came back and he said, you know, you better get up to Michigan and Wisconsin. You remember that, Peter. Every house has a Trump sign on it. The Republicans had won Michigan and Wisconsin for decades, long time. And they all left Bill Clinton. Like, the hell does he know? And he turned out to be right because I won both of them. And then we just won both of this election. We won Wisconsin and Michigan and every other swing state. We won all the swing states. All 7. They talked about 7 swing states. We won them all. So, but Bill Clinton he had a great political sense. I was. You'd like to know what it was? Everybody wants to know. But we were having some crazy conversations. So why do you ask any question like that? I don't think you want to know. You might be insulted.
It's an executive order relating to holding former government officials accountable for unlawful disclosure of sensitive information. This next one, sir, is a declaration of a national energy emergency.
It's a big do whatever you have to do to get out of that stuff. And we do have emergency.
President Trump, at some point, please use your power presidency to tell Americans we're concerned about drones.
Yeah. Well,
Tell us
in fact, I'd like to know because I just got here.
what
I just came here. I've been here for what, 15 minutes now.
your people listening to this still our lives.
And I gotta read this letter too, because you I found this letter. It's interesting. Yeah, you would. Your father would too.
But
Well, it is, sir. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people. In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Yeah, why don't we find it immediately? I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been people would have gotten blown up on. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. Flying over Bedminster, which is interesting. No security. Because then everything shut down to drugs. You know, you can shut that down pretty easily if you're sophisticated. They're very sophisticated, these people. No, it was just called weather. And we made a good move because, first of all, I thought it was incredible on the Capitol. You know why I liked it? Because I got great reviews on that speech. I got great reviews. Can you believe it? They actually were fair. Maybe the fake news is changing.
Unleashing energy.
Yeah, unleashing energy production. But I thought it was, I think having it in the Capitol was great. Obviously, you can take care of the people you have to take care of. The city was booming. And if we would have done that, it was really cold. You know, it was like, looked sunny. But when you stood outside for 10 minutes, people were running back in. It was really cold and really windy. The wind brings it down a lot. So we made the right decision. You couldn't have stayed. I don't think you could have had it. You know how cold it was. It was, people went out for a little while just to test it. They couldn't stay out more than 10 minutes. They all came back. So we would have had a disaster if we did that. And people would have been hurt.
Awful disclosure, you know, that's it,
Which one?
on lawful disclosures by federal bids, is that right?
No, I think it's just more general than that. It's not Hunter Biden. I was surprised that President Biden would go and pardon his whole family because that makes him look very guilty. You're not going to pardon my family. Pardon myself, my family. He said, if I do that, it's going to make me look very guilty. I don't think I'd be sitting here for anything. If I did that, I don't think I'd be sitting here right now. Because I would have shown that you're guilty. But by pardoning his brother or brothers, by pardoning all of those people that he pardoned, by pardoning J6, the unselect committee, they destroyed all of the documents. They deleted all of the information. There's no information. And a lot of the information pertains to Nancy Pelosi because she was given 100, you know this, it's on tape with her daughter. Nancy Pelosi was responsible for not taking advantage of 10,000 soldiers or 1,000. You wouldn't have needed, you could have used 400. It was a relatively small crowd. It wasn't the crowd that was at the mall, it was a small crowd. So I was a little bit surprised that he did it because it makes him look guilty. I mean, he's going to have to live with it. Now, with that being said, it's unbelievable precedent it creates for a president. But the precedent is unbelievable. Now maybe every president that leaves office, they're going to pardon every president they ever met, so they don't have some lunatic like a deranged Jack Smith. Not a smart guy, he's a dummy. But we beat the hell out of him. Well, I guess now I have precedent to do it. I wouldn't want to do that now. It makes you look very guilty. I think it makes Biden look very bad, very weak, and very guilty. This J6 committee, why is he pardoning them? The reason is because if you delete and destroy documentation, everything, because they were guilty as hell. They rigged it. It was a rigged deal. And when you do that, they look a little surprised he did it. Liz Cheney, which is a lunatic. And she lost by the greatest margin in the history of a politician running for Congress, like 40 points. The reason it was the greatest is because anybody losing that big is going to drop out. But she's a nut job. She doesn't drop out. She just keeps chugging forward. And she lost by almost 40 points. It's the biggest number anybody's ever lost by. But why would Biden do that? He pardoned her, pardoned everybody. The reason is that they destroy documents. And if you're even in a civil case, which this wouldn't be, I mean, people go to jail for a long time. What's this one?
That's unleashing American energy, sir. relates to easing permitting processes and other regulatory systems to ensure that we can produce energy efficiently to drive the American economy forward.
President Trump, looking around in office, you know, some changes.
Please like and subscribe to the page. I'm going to be bringing you more live coverage as long as it's possible tonight, so we can keep up with all the amazing things Trump is doing, and so that we can hear what he has to say about the outgoing administration and all the crimes they committed. Things a lot of us already know, but when the president says it, it just hits a little bit different. So please like and subscribe.
They took a very safe route. They don't have any bad ones out there.
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization. So
Oh, that's my favorite one so far. Getting us out of the
So
World
we
Health
paid
Organization.
$500 million to World Health, and I terminated it. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350. Nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally. But let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million. We were paying 500 million.
That doesn't make sense. The numbers don't add up.
So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out.
Talk that shit,
They
Trump.
offered me to
Talk.
come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but and when Biden came back, they came back for 500 million. He knew that you could have come back for 39 million. They wanted us back so badly, so we'll see what happens. Pretty sad to think of it. China pays 39 million, and we pay 500 million. And China's a bigger country.
Way bigger country. Damn near what? Quadruple our population, but we're paying. Everyone's been just ripping us off. Like we're just like an ATM machine for the world. That's gonna stop now.
The biggest thing, in fact, for inflation is energy. They screwed up my energy policy. And then they went back to it. You know, they heard it really badly. And then they went back to it. They started drilling more, but by that time it was too late. Many of these things that we're signing and that Doug Burgum is going to be signing, and Chris Wright, who's phenomenal, Energy Department of Energy. We're going to be taking a lot. We're going to make a lot of money from energy. We have more than anybody else. We're going to make a lot of money from energy. We're going to make a lot of money from tariffs. You know, European Union charges us. They have a VAT tax of 20%, but it's really much higher than that. And that's the equivalent, almost the equivalent of a tariff. And they don't take our farm product. They don't take almost anything. And yet we take their crops, we take their farm product. We take a lot from them. So, you know, we have like a $300 billion deficit with Europe. So we'll straighten that out with either tariffs or they have to buy our oil. The one thing they can do, or oil and gas, the one thing they can do to catch up quickly, buy our oil and gas. And they should do that. Yeah, good. I've had the invite. I would forget.
Talking about the European Union and the tariffs, like, what do you think that European Union can like part of
Oh, BRICS. No, I'm talking about BRICS. BRICS are 6 nations. I think it's 7 nations. And they were looking to do a number in the United States. And if they do that, they won't be happy about what's going to happen. May, yeah, but we're not ready for that yet. We may put it rapid because essentially all countries take advantage of the U.S. We don't make any good deals in the U.S. It's amazing in a way that we exist. We don't make good deals. We don't have any good deals. We have a deficit with almost, not all, there are a couple, I won't tell you their names because I don't want them to find out about it because they'll feel stupid. But there are a couple of countries that actually don't make money with us. But I don't want to let you know because they'll immediately change that. But we're gonna do. We have our country has an amazing economic future. Well, you put a universal tariff on anybody doing business in the United States because they're coming in and They're stealing our wealth. They're stealing our jobs. They're stealing our companies. They're hurting our companies. So you put tariff on to keep them from doing that. Rather, you start to talk about President Biden, well, he had a lot of jobs. And then they found out that he didn't know what he was talking about. I think they deserted him. They deserted him. Those same guys. Look, I don't make pretenses, smart guys. There are a lot of smart people around, but they did desert him. They were all with him, every one of them. Now they were all with him. But they want the nation to do well, and they're smart people, and they have, they create a lot of jobs. And if they don't do it, China's going to do it. You know, what they've done is they've taken industries and they've taken it away. They outsmarted China. Sort of like that. They've done a great job. A lot of them. Not all of them.
Protecting women from radical gender ideologies.
Ooh. Sure, I do, but not when you're being ripped off like we are by the World Health. World Health ripped us off. Everybody rips off the United States, and that's it. It's not going to happen anymore. Thank you very much, everybody. All right, we have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research. Nice to see you. So this is a big one. Anything you want to explain about this? We hope they come out tonight, right? Expecting it. Approximately 1,500 people. Six commutations. We're looking at different things. Yeah, but commutations would be the ones that we'll take a look at. Maybe it'll stay that way, or it'll go to a full part.
And the order does run.
Beautiful scene. And it's crazy, until like recently in life, I never paid attention to any of these ceremonies. And now they mean so much. Our country, our home, our traditions, everything matters now. It didn't really matter before, didn't really pay attention. And we now see the consequences of not paying attention. I don't think any of us are gonna go back down that road again. I don't really know what's happening right now. I just know it's like this really nice stage with our seal on it. Everyone's dressed all nice. So I'm guessing this is indoors. I don't see a lot of coats because it's brick freezing in DC right now. It's actually, I think it just started snowing here, and I'm in Houston. So it's cold in this part of the country right now. I tell you the truth, I would really have loved to see Steve Bannon here. I would love to see Bannon in the Trump administration. Again, in my opinion, there's a huge blind spot without Bannon. And so what, he says some things about Musk. It's not like he's lying on Musk. It just might be inconvenient. But remember, Musk has not been with us for a very long time. Musk can also change his mind and go back to the Democrats in 2 years. And next thing you know, he knows our inner workings and he's our biggest enemy because he can just throw all the money he can behind the Democrats and all their woke BS and all the weird stuff against children. So you got to be careful with that. And yes, they are using the Undertaker theme, strangely enough. That's pretty hilarious. I should have flew to DC today for this. It was just cold. And I'm babysitting a dog right now. I didn't want to leave them with a babysitter. Kind of wanted to be here. It's a beautiful sight to see. And this must be a massive building. It's a huge stage. And they're indoors. And everything went off today without a hitch. There were a lot of concerns. There was a lot of worry about drones or some random idiot doing some kind of a attack or event with all these terrorists. Thank God none of that happened. Everything went off without a hitch, as it should. We have a strong security force now. Law and order will be reinstated and restored in the country. So it went off as it should. It should have went off good. No excuse in the world for our security services to not be able to handle the likes of this. So far, so good. He pulled us out of the World Health Organization, the WHO, which is a huge blow to the World Economic Forum, a huge blow to Klaus Schwab and his agenda. He signed multiple executive orders to close our borders. There will be no more, no more getting through at the point of entries in California, Arizona, Texas. That's out now. He's also going to bring back TikTok. However, the United States will own 50% of it. Without the U.S., it's worth zero. With the U.S., it's worth $1 trillion. So he said it makes sense that we get half. So we're going to own half of TikTok, and we'll be able to influence it, and there won't be all this pushing trans nonsense on the kids in our country, but, pushing science and engineering on kids in China. That will change. So now that's going to be a thing. Lots of executive orders about drilling, lots of executive orders about energy, becoming energy independent again, reinstating leases. I'm sure we're going to hire back all those wonderful men that were fired from building the critical Keystone pipeline. That's going to get reinstated. Also, there's going to be thousands of jobs that are going to need employees in Canada. We are going to start drilling and pulling energy out of our, out of our Alaskan territory. So there's going to be big industry coming to Alaska to expand our mining operations there for LNG, oil, energy, and etc. We're going to get that energy out of the ground and get it down here to the mainland. And it'll be American energy that we can also export and sell. See, the thing is, because Trump was already in office, he now knows what to do. And he's only going to be one term, so he's not worried about getting reelected. It's balls to the wall now. Smash the like button, like and subscribe. If you're watching this on Instagram or on YouTube or on Rumble, I love Rumble. Our infrastructure is Rumble. We're going to be expanding on Rumble. I can talk about whatever on Rumble, but we are on these other platforms. So wherever you're watching it, please like and subscribe. And we're just going to do a live stream tuned into it. You don't have to travel around looking for what to watch. Everything live from Washington, D.C. We'll be playing it here. Good, some good old country music. Thank God there's no Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla twerking. We had enough of that. We're going to leave that. We're going to leave that in 2024. None of that this time.
Republicans got on board to ban.
Oh, no.
we're gonna sign some orders right now, and that's really what I wanna do. So we're gonna sign executive orders first. I'll revoke nearly 80 destructive and radical executive actions of the previous administration, one of the worst administrations in history, maybe not one of them, the worst. Anybody that would allow millions of people to pour through our borders from jails, prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums, gang members to be taken off the streets of Venezuela and deposited. Not just Venezuela. Crime in Venezuela is down 74% because they took their criminals and gave them to us through an open border policy of the previous administration. All you remember a little statement about tips? Does anybody
Never forget. They wanted the IRS to come after you. 87,000.
They went out and harassed you over the tips. In other words, we are restoring control of our government to the people. We're going to take those 88,000. Let's see if they'd like to work on the border because that's where we want them, really.
We're going to take those 88,000 IRS agents and put them on the border.
So we're going to have no tax on tips.
And instead of an internal revenue service, it's going to be an external revenue service that's going to go after tariffs in other countries that have businesses here.
He's done such a good job. Is Mike here? He's around here someplace. I saw him just a little while ago. Hello, fellas. Look at you guys. Yeah, I know. He's great. He's doing great. They're all doing good. The Republican Party has never been unified like it is right now. They want to save our country. And we're going to more than save it. We're going to make it greater than it's ever been before by a lot. it floats into the United States of America after 3.5 to 5.5 days. It floats across the oceans and it comes right over your neighborhood and it falls into your neighborhood. So they all say, we have to fight for cleaner air, but the other dirty air is dropping all over us. So what the hell are they talking about? Unless everybody does it, it just doesn't work. You know, we had the cleanest
Yep.
air.
Unless everybody does it, it
water
doesn't matter.
that this country's ever had under the Trump administration. And we didn't do anything to stop jobs and stop production. Believe me, you're going to see a lot of companies come pouring back because tariffs. I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary. And I was reprimanded by the fake news. They said, what about love, religion, and God? I said, I agree. Let's put God number one. Let's put religion number two. Love, I don't know. Put that number three, I guess, right? And then it's tariff. Because tariffs are going to make us rich as hell. It's going to bring our country's businesses back that left us. And I'll also sign an executive order to immediately end federal government censorship of the American people. In America, we believe in free speech. And we're bringing it back starting today to stop the weaponization. Oh, do I know about that? These creeps.
Be petty,
Deranged
Trump. Be
Jackson.
petty. Bring it all up. Bring it all up.
He's a deranged prosecutor. Sick. They suck him on me. He's now been reduced to getting on an airplane, going back to the Hague or wherever the hell he came from. Hey, was he one of the many people that got a pardon today? Did they pardon Jack Smith? You know, did you know that Biden, while I was making my speech, pardoned his whole family? The brother, the whole deal was pardoned. Can you imagine that? While I was making my speech, did everybody hear my speech? Did you like my speech? Thank you. I mean, the only thing wrong with it is I had a lot of tough things to say, and I have some great people that work for me. Sir, this is such a great speech. It's so unifying. Don't talk about Biden with his partners of his family. We want a unified country. They said, don't talk about the J6 hostages that you're going to be releasing today. Sir, don't put that in your speech, please. I said, but really, I want to put it in my speech. They said, sir, it won't be unified like it is. It's so beautiful the way it is. And it is getting great reviews. You know, if I put things like that in, I get terrible reviews. One little paragraph that's a little bit wrong with the fake news goes crazy, right? So I said, all right, I won't put it in my speech, but you know what? I'm speaking in front of a hell of a lot of people at a place called Capital One Arena, and I'll talk about it. So we're going to be going over the beautiful Oval Office, one of the great offices in history. Even if it wasn't beautiful, it's the Oval Office, but it is beautiful. And we love the Oval Office. It all starts with the wars start and end there. Everything starts and ends at the Oval Office. We love it. But we're going to go to the Oval Office. We're going to decide we're going to release our great hostages that didn't do, for the most part, they didn't do stuff wrong. You take a look at what went on, and look what happens in other parts of the country. In Portland, where they killed people, they destroyed the city. Nothing happens to them. In Seattle, where they took over a big chunk of the city, nothing happened. Minneapolis, where they burned down the city, nothing happened. Essentially, nothing happened. All they want to do is go after the J6 hostages. A 76-year-old grandmother was arrested the other day because she was looking, I think because she was looking at the Capitol or something like that. No, we're not going to put up with that crap anymore. and to stop the weaponization of law enforcement. I've been investigated more than any human being in the world. I believe I have the all-time record. Every day a subpoena. Every single day we get subpoenas. I was more than any person. Alphonse Capone, remember I used to talk about it? Now, Alphonse Capone, Scarface, he was a pretty rough guy. He was investigated about 1/100th when Trump was in. My father's looking down at me, my mother. How the hell did this happen? You know what it is? They investigated their political opponent, the opponent of Biden, and then ultimately Kamala. Has anyone ever heard of Kamala? We had to beat two opponents. You know, we had to beat Biden, then we beat him. Now he goes and tells, that was like 39 points down. I think I'm going to beat Trump. They should have left me, you know, I would have been. No, his debate performance wasn't the best, right? That's what killed him. And then they had to change, and that's like you get into a fight. The great Dana White spoke last night. We love Dana White, right? UFC. That's like he puts in two fighters. One of them's getting creamed, getting really beaten, and they say, all right, take him out. Let's put somebody else in to finish up the fight. That's what they did to us. They gave us somebody new, but we took care of both of them.
Facts.
So we beat actually two opponents. But all records pertaining to political persecutions under the last administration, of which there were many, and beginning the process of exposing any and all abuses of power, even though he's pardoned many of these people. Can you believe it? He's pardoned. You know why he did it while I was speaking? Because that way I couldn't speak about it. I was speaking. I didn't know he did it. I finished my speech, and they said, sir, he pardoned his whole family. I said, oh, can I go back out there and talk about it? Somehow that wouldn't be very elegant. Our First Lady would say, please don't do that. But we have plenty of time to talk about it, and we will. We're doing all of this on our very first day in office. You know, don't forget, we've been in this position, really, where we won the primaries in record time. We were the fastest win of a primary ever in political history, which is a very nice thing. It's nice to know. Well, the second election was rigged.
That's a fresh ass Trump beanie right there too.
And if it wasn't, you know
Both
what?
of
If
them
it
were
wasn't,
good.
I would have never run. I would have never run. But this third one was just a monster. Boy, was that a big one, huh? That was a big one. On the second one, we got like 10 or 12 million votes more than the first one. How about that? We did great on the first one. We did much better on the second one. But man, did we do well on the third one. So we're gonna have some fun. It's very simple. We're gonna make our country great. We're gonna make our country great again. We're gonna make America great again. How good a name is MAGA, though, right? You know, I was going to say keep America great, but unfortunately, it wasn't great. Can't say keep it great. It will be great again, but can keep America great? Can I don't think it's ever going to replace MAGA. Does anybody like tag? I don't think so.
MAGA's
Never
better.
replacing MAGA. Nothing will ever replace MAGA. MAGA was the most successful political operation, political movement in the history of our country, maybe in the history of the world. Let's see what happens. Because we're not finished yet. We're not finished yet. We got a long way to go. But we're doing this on the very first day in office, and in just a few moments, I'm not only signing the release of the J6 hostages, I'm signing other things that you're going to love. Oh, you're going to be happy reading newspapers tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. So I just want to thank, I mean, look at this place. It's full to the rafters. You don't have any, look at those people up there. You don't have any empty seats. And by the way, the Capital One owners, they are so good. We got to root for their teams because they have been so great to MAGA, to us. And I just want to thank Ted and everybody. You guys have been fantastic. And The ice hockey team's doing great. Ovechkin's pretty good, right? They're doing great. So I want to thank them, Capital One Arena owners. They have been absolutely fantastic. And thank you once again to everyone. And I can only tell you, you're going to be very happy. You're going to watch a lot of good things happen. We got to stop some wars that are happening and going on. Some stupid things are happening. The war with Ukraine would have never happened, and it has. As you know, Israel would have never been hit on October 7th, and none of you would be up here. None of you would even know anything about this tragedy that you're going through right now. But Iran was broke. Anybody that bought oil from Iran, they couldn't do any business with us. You're not going to do business with America. China passed, everybody passed. They were broke. They didn't have money for Hamas. They didn't have money for Hezbollah. And your sons would be alive, and they certainly wouldn't be incarcerated like they are. It's such a shame, but we're getting a lot of people out in a short period of time. So I'm going to go right over to here, and I'm going to sign in front of you. Is that okay? Good.
I think he's going to be signing the pardons for the J6ers. And I think these are family members of the hostages in Israel. They're either the Israel hostage families or the J6er families. I'm not actually sure. I keep seeing the same picture, so they're not individuals. So it could be the hostages. Here we go. It's not about me right now. It's about Trump.
First is the decisions at 75 POs.
Why don't you say what I'm saying?
Sure. The first item that President Trump is signing is the rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others. Thank you, sir. The second item, President Trump, is a regulatory freeze, as you announced in your speech, preventing bureaucrats from issuing any more regulations until we have full control of this, the government, this administration. Thank you, sir. The next item, sir, is a freeze on all federal hiring, excepting the military and a number of other excluded categories. Again, until full control of the government is achieved and we understand the objectives of government going forward.
Could you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so.
Sir, the next item, as you announced in your speech, is a requirement that federal workers return to full-time in-person work immediately. Thank you, sir. Next, we have a directive to every department and agency in the federal government to address the cost of living crisis that has cost Americans so dearly. sir. The next item here is the withdrawal from the Paris Climate Treaty.
Again, we withdrew once. Now we're out of that bullshit, fake climate change nonsense, global warming scam. Oh, the weather. Shut up. We're not changing the weather. It's the same as it was. Everything goes in cycles.
We're going to save over $1 trillion by withdrawing from that treaty.
Brilliant.
And the next item, sir, is a letter that will be transmitted to the United Nations explaining that we are withdrawing from the Paris Climate Treaty.
I loved how he rescinded 78 Biden executive orders at once. Amazing.
Thank you, sir. This next item is a directive to the federal government ordering the restoration of freedom of speech and preventing government censorship of free speech going. And lastly, sir, before we go back to the Oval Office to sign a large number of other items, is a directive to the federal government ending the weaponization of government against the political adversaries of the previous administration.
That includes Trump himself. It's a great day. Even though it's cold as I don't know what out here, it's a great day.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
I made sure he didn't snatch my pen. His wife is fresh to death. Kept her shape. Did really good. Everyone swore once Trump wasn't in office, she was going to leave him. That's how you know people just make up bullshit and they're wrong about everything all the time. Well, you don't listen to him. Amazing. Amazing.
I think this order will apply to approximately
1,500 people.
January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a party. Full party.
Full pardon.
Full party. We have about 6 commutations in where we're doing further research. Nice to see you. So this is a big one. Anything you want to do is to name it.
Letting all the J6ers out. Full pardon. The political prisoners, the hostages they're coming home.
We're looking at different things. I'd like the commutation to be the ones that will take a look at. Maybe it'll stay that way, or it'll go to the full part.
The order does require the Bureau of Prisons to act immediately in interest of the parties.
So they have to act immediately, no delay. Let them out tonight.
This is a proclamation guaranteeing the state's protection against invasion based on the current crisis on the southern border.
And this is where he signs off to shut down the southern border.
I don't think we make any. Very straight up. Why don't you take that and go over here? Do you mind? Just go right over here.
Executive order realigning the United States Refugee Admission Program to better align with American principles and values. Sir, this is an executive order realigning the United States Refugee Admission Program to better align with American principles and American interests. Sir, this next executive order is about protecting America from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. Again, the crisis of the border, but it goes beyond that. It implicates other executive powers as well.
What is it about the, start out with that, foreign
Could happen. Stranger things have happened.
That was actually
Say it.
How do you make sure that the law will accept Venezuela?
Well, we're going to see Venezuela. We're looking at Venezuela very strongly. It's a country I know very well for a lot of reasons, and it's well, it was a great country 20 years ago, and now it's a mess.
Sir, can we expect ICE raids starting tomorrow in major cities?
What does that mean?
Can we expect ICE raids in major cities?
I don't want to say when, but it's going to happen. Has to happen, or we're not going to have a country left.
This is actually an executive order designating the cartels and other organizations, foreign terrorist organizations.
It's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years. So they are now designated as terrorist organizations for Mexican colonies. What's right? They're killing our people. They're killing 250, 300,000 American people a year. Not 100, like has been reported for 15 years. It's probably 300,000.
This is an executive.
I don't know, you'll have to ask them.
Sir, this is an executive order entitled Protecting the American People Against Invasion, which again deals with the southern border and the unprecedented admission of illegal aliens across the southern border.
What do you see the biggest national security threat to the U.S. convention? What's going to be your priority for policy?
Say,
What's going to be your priority for policy? What see as a big.
Well, foreign policy is a big statement to me. My priority in foreign policy. It's gonna be to keep America safe. Very simple. To be questioned on that.
What's gonna be the first part here that you plan to meet or meet with the call tomorrow?
I've already been meeting people, meeting them, I've been talking to them. So I met with Prime Minister Trudeau, like all Governor Trudeau. I met with numerous foreign leaders. Go ahead.
So it might be a
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one. Could be. I think we have good, you could be right. We'll find out. Ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. It's just absolutely ridiculous, but, we'll see. We have very good ground. Certain people have wanted to do this for decades.
So this is a proclamation declaring a national emergency in the southern border of the United States.
That's a big one. A lot of big ones, huh? You know what that means, right? He may have. Right? Don't they leave it there?
What's it?
It could have been years before we.
Can't read that.
Maybe we should all read it together. Well, maybe read it first and then make that. Peter, thank you very much. I may not have seen this for months.
Happy to help with the next torch.
I left him one.
What is he talking about?
Unification of our country. I didn't know that he gave a pardon to his family because he did it during my speech.
He didn't tell you to handle that.
No, he didn't tell me. He did it, they released it during my speech. So all I could do was say, excuse me, I'd like to come back and speak some more. So now it was about that. It's bad precedent, obviously. Well, we're thinking in terms of 25% on Mexico and Canada because they're allowing vast numbers of people. Canada's a very bad abuser also. Vast numbers of people to come in and fentanyl to come in. I think February 1st. I think we'll do it February 1st.
So
On each.
this is an executive order taking a large number of executive actions to secure our southern border.
Sounds reasonable.
President Trump, you remember 4 years ago, Barack Obama told you the top 6 countries in the order to jump back.
No. Why not? I think we have a lot of them. Right now, I think we have a lot. I think most we turned out to be good. I was very friendly with him. He liked me. I liked him. We got along very well. They thought that was a tremendous threat. Now he is a nuclear power. We got along. I think you'll be happy to see him coming back. I think he has tremendous condo capabilities. He's got a lot of shoreline.
I want to work with countries from South America to coordinate on immigration.
But who?
Or immigration in general.
This is an executive order that starts.
I'm fine with legal immigration. I like it. We need people. And I'm absolutely fine with it. We want to need it because we're going to have a lot of companies coming in to avoid tariffs. If you don't want tariffs, all you have to do is build your plant in the US. So we're going to have a lot of workers coming in. But we have to have legal. If you have to name which one? No. You're talking about which? Say it again. China. Oh, China. Well, as you know, I put on large tariffs in China, and they've really been forced to leave them. And if we didn't leave them, you wouldn't have one steel mill that's open in this country because they were dumping massive amounts of steel. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars from China, and they were unable to terminate the tariffs that were on China because it was too much money and the budgets didn't work and other reasons. No, I mean, we're going to have meetings and calls with President Xi. I spoke to President Xi last week. Did you know that? Very good phone call. Long. NATO has to pay more money. NATO has to pay 5%. We are, we're in the Ukraine war by $200 billion more than NATO. It's ridiculous because it affects them a lot more. We have an ocean in between. We've spent $200 billion more on Ukraine than NATO spent. They've got to equalize. Yeah.
China and Brazil together had a proposal to bring Russia in.
That's good. I'm ready.
When we went to Brazil,
How did Brazil get involved? This is a new one.
when I went to
Are you from Brazil? That's why they're involved.
when I went to the Brazilian president, how do you see our relationship with Latin America and Brazil?
Great. Should be good. They need us much more than we need them. We don't need them. They need us. Everybody needs us. What is it? Define that. Because of fentanyl. That's only because of fentanyl. There are other things. And a very big thing is the Panama Canal. China controls the Panama Canal. What's that all about? And that's supposed to be good. When Jimmy Carter gave it, which was a terrible mistake, he didn't do it. He didn't give it to China. He gave it to Panama. And China controls the Panama Canal. And we're not going to allow that to happen. We're not, no.
What do you expect of the this amount of funds like Spain, France, below the 5%?
Spain is very low. And yet, aren't they a BRICS nation?
Well,
They're a BRICS nation, Spain. You know what a BRICS nation is? You'll figure it out. But if the BRICS nations want to do that, we're going to put at least a 100% tariff on the business they do with the United States. You know what the BRICS is? Yes.
Brazil,
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
but Spain,
So it's not even a threat. In fact, since I made that statement, Biden said, well, they have us over a barrel. I said, no, we have them over a barrel. There's no way they're going to be able to do it.
This is an executive.
As a BRICS nation, yes. They'll have 100% tariff if they so much as even think about doing what they thought.
can you explain how
Which, and therefore they'll give it up immediately. So will China give it up.
So this is about reforming the system of hiring federal government to ensure that merit is the one that starts hiring decisions.
As per the Supreme Court.
Yes, sir.
This is a big deal, merit. Our country's going to be based on merit again. Can you believe it? Well, there's only half a day. I have another half a day. Yes, we want to get it done.
This is in order to creating and implementing the Department of Government efficiency.
Okay, that's a big one.
If you don't want to,
No, he's getting an office for about 20 people that we're hiring to make sure that these get implemented. We have a problem in this country. You sign an executive order, it doesn't get done for 6 months. As an example, when we allowed the J6 hostages to go out, it might not be approved under the old days by 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months. You know, they had a good ruling from the Supreme Court and it's like nothing happened. That ruling was 6 months ago, you know that. And it was like they didn't have a ruling. They've been treated very unfair. The judges have been absolutely brutal. The prosecutors have been brutal. Nobody's ever treated people in this country like
Mr. President, are you communicating with anyone who assaulted these officers January 6th?
that. Well, we're looking at two police officers, actually, that Washington police officers who went after an illegal, and things happened and they ended up putting them in jail. They got 5-year jail sentences. You know the case. And we're looking at that in order to give them a, we got to give them a break.
But Mr. Clemency, in your actions today for
Well, it
anyone,
would be a part, that would be a part. The one I'm talking about would be a part.
should there be punishment for the people who assaulted law enforcement officers that day?
Well, I will say this, they've been in jail for a long time already. I see murderers in this country get 2 years, 1 year, and maybe no time. So they've already been in jail for a long time. These people have been destroyed. What they've done to these people is outrageous. There's rarely been anything like it in history, in the history of our country. And even people that were aggressive, and in many cases, I believe they have to be outside agitators. What do I know? But I think they were outside agitators. There were outside agitators involved. And obviously the FBI was involved because Ray admitted the FBI was involved. Didn't he say 23 people indirectly or directly were involved? And it was then 26. That's a lot of people. Now we have, we got to take care of these people have been treated so badly. It's never happened before. What happened in Seattle where they took over a big portion of the city? What happened in Portland where they burned down the city every day and people died? Nothing happened to anybody. But they go after these people violently. I mean, they're still going after brand new people. They found somebody else with a picture. There's never been anything like this. And you know, it's almost 100%. I think it is almost 100% of the people are convicted. 100%. It's Washington, D.C. People go into a trial and they say, "Oh, I have a wonderful lawyer and I didn't do anything wrong." You have Russian votes all over the place in China. So most of the media is forced to jail. Yeah, I can't be. About what? Greenland is a wonderful place. We need it for international security. And I'm sure that Denmark will come along. I think it's costing them a lot of money to maintain it, to keep it. The people of Greenland are not happy with Denmark. I think they're happy with us. We had representatives, my son and representatives went up there 2 weeks ago. And they like us.
They're very excited about potentially joining the United States and leaving the Danish the hell alone.
You have Russian votes all over the place. You have China votes all over the place. Warships. I can't maintain it. Who? I'll be meeting with you. I don't know if I can speak. So the first foreign trip typically has been with UK. We did it, I did it with Saudi Arabia last time because they agreed to buy $450 billion worth of bomb products. I said, I'll do it. But you have to buy American product. And they agreed to do that. They bought $450 billion. It was the least reported story. Saudi Arabia wanted to buy another 450 or 500 or up it for all the inflation. I think I probably.
How do you plan to end Ukraine?
Well, let's try to get it done as quickly as possible. It should have never started. You know, the war with Ukraine and Russia should have never started. It would have never started with the whole president.
Israel and Saudi Arabia to normalize relations.
I don't think that's the push. I think it's going to happen, but maybe not quite yet. But they'll end up being in the Accords, the Abraham Accords.
President Trump,
I think Saudi Arabia will end up being in the Abraham Accords. Could be, but soon. Not very long way. Oh, look at that! It says TikTok. Not my mind. What is that?
First thing is
TikTok.
Alaska, sir. This is an executive order relating to unleashing Alaska's potential as an energy reservoir for Utah.
And what about N1?
I believe that would be included in aspects of
So
the
we're
order.
opening up that one.
Drill, baby, drill.
Well, it depends on the deal. I mean, I may not do the deal, I may do the deal. TikTok is worthless. Worthless if I don't approve it. It has to close. I learned that from the people that own it. If I do the deal, it's worthless, worth nothing. If I do the deal, it's worth maybe $1 trillion, $1 trillion. So if I do the deal for the, I'm talking about doing it for the United States. If I do the deal for the United States, then I think we should get half. In other words, right, I think the US should be entitled to get half of TikTok. And congratulations, TikTok is a good partner. And that would be worth, you know, it could be $500 billion or something. It's crazy. The numbers are crazy. But it's worthless if the president doesn't sign, then it's worthless. If the president does sign, it's worth maybe $1 trillion. So I think, like a joint venture, I think we would have a joint venture with the people from TikTok. We'll see what happens. I mean, that's one of many ideas.
He said he's open to that.
Oh,
The CEO of TikTok is around.
oh, I think he'd probably like it because he's got nothing. They really have nothing. It's passed in Congress. It gives the president the right to make a deal or to close it. And we have 90 days to make that decision. But I could see making a deal where the US gets 50% of TikTok, polices it a little bit or a lot. But remember,
50% of TikTok. $1 billion company, and America gets 50%. It's $1 trillion company. So America gets half $1 trillion.
Products made in China, and nobody ever complained about it. The only one they complain about is TikTok.
Well, no, we complain about the Chinese buying farmland too. No, he's making it seem like, well, that's true. That's a good point. I mean, we complain about TikTok, but we don't complain about all the phones that come from China. However, in this situation, we do complain about all the farmland that the Chinese have been buying up that are close to military installations. So we want to, I'm sure Trump's going to address that too.
50% of TikTok for the approval of TikTok can continue in business. And they'd have a great partner. The U.S. would be their partner. But the U.S. essentially would be paid for doing that half of the value of TikTok. Could be a lot. Every rich person is called me on TikTok.
What is wrong with TikTok? What?
Because I got to use it. And remember, TikTok is largely about kids, young kids. If China's going to get information about young kids, to be honest, I think we have bigger problems in that. But you know, when you take a look at telephones that are made in China and all the other things that are made in China, military equipment made in China, TikTok, I think TikTok is not the biggest problem. But there's big value in TikTok. If it doesn't get approved, there's no value. So if we create that value, why aren't we entitled to like that?
Very good point. Very good point. It's the man who wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. So if anybody would know, he would know.
It would be zero for the next infinity. For infinity. No. Elon is very busy sending rocket ships up to various places.
He's sending rocket ships to nowhere. Where are these rockets going? Nowhere. They're not going to Mars. They're not going to the moon. They're going up into the sky and then into the Bermuda Triangle. And Trump knows Elon is a joke. And that's why now that Elon serves his purpose, I mean, I'm sure you can find something for him to do, but now he's back to being real about who Elon is. Not very important.
He's done a good job. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know what's going to happen. He's got some very strong ideas in the market.
You signed that.
Yeah. Yes, that's just,
Marco, you said yes,
just signed.
still changing Venezuela, changing power. Are you still committed with Maduro leaving power in Venezuela?
Well, we're gonna find out about that too, because we're gonna probably stop buying oil from them as well. We don't need to.
Another embargo like the first time.
Could be, but we don't want to buy it. We don't have to buy your oil. We have plenty of oil for ourselves. So
President Trump.
that'll change Venezuela quite a bit.
President Trump.
But only words that.
Can't imagine even believe in the sanctity of the vote. The Democrats didn't because they cheated like dogs, but I believe in the sanctity, and this was too big to rig. This last election was just too big to rig. Really the opposite. Could be very soon.
And talk a bit about Ukraine and Russia, but how long do you think it would take to end that conflict? And
I have to speak to President Putin. We're gonna have to find out. He can't be thrilled. He's not doing so well. I mean, he's grinding it out, but most people thought that war would have been over in about 1 week. And now you're into 3 years. So he can't be thrilled.
I mean, we thought that about Afghanistan and Iraq and how long we've been there until they kicked us out a couple years ago under Biden.
I think it'd be very well off to end that war. We have numbers that almost 1 million Russian soldiers have been killed. About 700,000 Ukrainian soldiers.
Those numbers are off.
Russia's bigger, they have more soldiers to lose. But that's no way to run a country. It just gave me the right to sell it or close it. Essentially with TikTok, I have the right to either sell it or close it. And we'll make it. And we may have to get an approval from China to shoot, but I'm sure they'll approve it. And if they don't approve it, it'll be somewhat of a hostile act. But it's good for China if it gets approved. No, but it could very well be. It makes sense for it too, because it's got tremendous value. But if we create the value by approving, in other words, that approval gives it tremendous value. If that's the case, then we should be entitled to 50% as a country. So you haven't heard that one before. It's called a joint venture. And nobody ever thought that way. Well, I think you have a lot of people that would be interested in TikTok with the United States as a partner.
Mr. President, what is it like walking into the Oval Office?
What a great feeling. One of the better feelings I've ever had.
Do you like this town better now than 2017?
Well, we're very experienced. You would say nobody's ever had experience like that. I've dealt with some very good people. I've dealt with some very bad people, and I know who the bad ones are and the good ones. Don't forget, I was very successful in primarily the real estate business. People used to say, who's worse, a politician or a vicious real estate developer? And I would say, the real estate developer is far worse. But after about 3 months and getting to know scum like Adam Schiff and other people like that, I said, no, actually, real estate people are quite nice by comparison.
He said he planned to speak with President Putin.
Yeah. He's told me he wants to make a deal. Zelensky wants to make a deal. I don't know if Putin does, he might not. He should make a deal. I think he's destroying Russia. I think Russia's going to be in big trouble. If you take a look at their economy, you take a look at the inflation. I would hope he wants to make a deal. Well, sanctions or tariffs. I think the word tariff is much better because it keeps your dollar stronger. I think tariffs are more effective. I use sanctions on Iran. Iran was broke. When I left office, Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, none. They were flat broke. And October 7th would have never happened. And I think you all know that. It would have never happened. They had no money. Now they're rich, but they're weakened in a different way. I would say that the one attack on Israel really set them back. It really set them. The pages, and others. The attack on air defense was a bad attack.
What are you signing now? It's an executive order relating to reforms to the federal workforce, including to the senior executive service.
We're getting rid of all of the cancer. I call it cancer. The cancer caused by the Biden administration.
How confident are you, Mr. President, that it can keep this ceasefire without the truth?
It's not our war, it's their war, but I'm not confident, but I think they're very weakened on the other side.
You support the two-state
Gaza, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site. That place it's really got to be rebuilt in a different way.
Do you plan to help reduce the
I might. Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, best weather. Everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it, but it's very interesting. But some fantastic things could be done with it.
How do you see the future in governance for Gaza?
Well, it depends. I can't imagine you could have. Well, you certainly can't have the people that were there. Most of them did. Most of them did. But they didn't exactly run well. Run viciously and badly. You can't have that.
Officer, you pause the position of Chinese terrorists. You know,
If China didn't approve it, we could put tariffs on China. Don't forget, China charges us tariffs, and we charge them very little, except for what I did. I put a lot of it. We took it hundreds of billions of dollars. But until I came along, China never paid 10 cents to this country. They ripped us off, and they never paid anything. But like, if we wanted to make a deal with TikTok, and it was a good deal, and China wouldn't approve it, then I think ultimately they'd approve it because we put tariffs on China. Maybe. I'm not saying I would, but you certainly could do that. And if we said, well, if you're not going to approve it, then that's a certain hostility, and we'll put tariffs of 25, 30, 40, 50%, even 100%. And if we did that, I think they'd approve it.
So, you've seen the other living presidents a couple times in the last few months. You ever call on one of them for advice?
It's interesting. Well, I think Bill Clinton was a very good politician. I don't think he was used properly. I think they disrespected him. When Hillary was running, he came back and he said, you better get up to Michigan and Wisconsin. You remember that. Every house has a Trump sign on it. And they all left because the Republicans had won Michigan and Wisconsin for decades, long time. And they all left Bill Clinton. Like, the hell does he know? And he turned out to be right because I won both of them. And then we just won both in this election. So we won Wisconsin and Michigan and every other swing state. We won all the swing states. All 7. They talked about 7 swing states. We won them all. So, but Bill Clinton he had a great political sense, I think.
You look like you were having a conversation with President Obama.
I was. And you'd like to know what? Everybody wants to know. And I wouldn't want to, but we were having some crazy conversation. Why do you ask this question? I don't think you want to know. You might be insulted.
It's an executive order relating to holding former government officials accountable for unlawful disclosure of sensitive information. This next one, sir, is a declaration of a national energy emergency.
It's a big one. You can do whatever you have to do to get out of that. And we do have emergency.
President Trump, at some point we use your House of the presidency to tell Americans we're concerned about drones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I will.
Tell us
In fact, I'd like to know because I just got here.
What do you think?
I just came here. I've been here for what, 15 minutes now.
Do people think there's no outline?
And I gotta read this letter too, because you knew I found this letter. It's interesting. Yeah, I knew you would. Your father would too.
But is it anything from, anything we see before?
No, I think it's, I would like to find out what it is and tell the people. In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay. Yeah, why don't we find out immediately? I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up on it, but maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. Yeah, over Bedminster, which is interesting.
And what are the events today? I guess, is that people decide just for cold weather, unless there's some kind of security?
No security. Because then everything shut down to drones. You can shut that down pretty easily if you're sophisticated. They're very sophisticated, these people. No, it was just cold weather. And we made a good move because, first of all, I thought it was incredible. You know why I liked it? Because I got great reviews of that speech. I got great reviews. Can you believe it? They actually were fair. Maybe the fake news is changing. But yeah, unleashing energy production. But I thought it was, I think having it in the capital is good. It's obviously, you can take care of the people you have to take care of. The city was booming. And if we would have done it outside, people would have been hurt because it was really cold. It was like, looked sunny. But when you stood outside for 10 minutes, people were running back in. It was really cold and really windy. The wind brings it down a lot. So we made the right decision. You couldn't have stayed. I don't think you could have. You know how cold it was. It was. People went out for a little while just to test it. They couldn't stay out more than 10 minutes. They all came back in. So we would have had a disaster if we did that, and people would have been hurt. Which one?
Unlawful disclosures, like that.
No, I think it's just more general than that. Hunter Biden. I was surprised that President Biden would go and pardon his whole family, because that makes him look very guilty. I could have pardoned my family. I could have pardoned myself, my family. I said, if I do that, it's going to make me look very guilty. I don't think I'd be sitting there forever. I did.
Facts. He didn't pardon his family when he left office because they weren't guilty of anything.
But by pardoning his brother or brothers, by pardoning all of those people that he pardoned, by pardoning J6, the Unselect Committee, they destroyed all of the documents. They deleted all of the information. There's no information. And a lot of the information pertains to Nancy Pelosi because she was given this, it's on tape with her daughter. Nancy Pelosi was responsible for not taking advantage of 10,000 soldiers or 1,000. You wouldn't have you could have used 400. It was a relatively small crowd. It wasn't a crowd that was at the mall. It was a small crowd. So I was a little bit surprised that he did.
But see, Pelosi, she didn't put that all together herself. She turned down the assistance because they wanted something to happen that they could use for years to come. Luckily, nobody on J6 was armed. Nobody was there to do an insurrection. Nobody was charged or convicted of insurrection. And thank God Trump is back in office, and there will be hell to pay for all the people that lied and did all kind of shady stuff trying to keep him out. The direction of our country was crashing into a wall. Listening to diverse ideas from mentally ill Black and gay people. I wouldn't even call them Americans. They hate the country. They don't claim to be Americans, but they're just here occupying our territory for now. But I'm glad that we're addressing them and we're dismantling the woke and their ideology and their bull. We're dismantling it brick by brick, and it will continue. This is just the beginning. This is just day one. And look at this man. He's still awake. He's still, doing all the inauguration stuff. I've needed 2 naps just since this morning because there's a lot going on. So he's a trooper.
A little surprised. Liz Cheney, she's a lunatic. She lost by the greatest margin in the history of a politician running for Congress, like 40 points. The reason it was the greatest is because anybody losing that badly is going to drop out. But she's a nut job. She doesn't drop out. She just keeps chugging forward. And she lost by almost 40 points. It's the biggest number anybody's ever lost by. But why would Biden do that? He pardoned her, pardoned everybody. The reason is that they destroyed documents. And if you're even in a civil case, which this wouldn't be, I mean, people go to jail for a long time. What's this one?
That's unleashing American energy, sir. Relates to using permitting processes and other regulatory systems to ensure that we produce energy efficiently to drive the American economy forward.
President Trump, looking around the office, we have changes in the way the document. You confirm that you have added back.
I think there's, first of all, I just got, so my people came in, they have extraordinary decorator sense, right? Let me just see some of the pictures. Oh, that's a good one. I could live with him. I could live with George Washington, I can tell you. I can live with Thomas Jefferson. I can live with most of them. They took a very safe route. They don't have any bad ones up there. What is this?
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization.
Ooh, that's a good one. So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350 to pay. We have, nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million. We were paying 500 million. Seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out. They offered to come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but you know. And when Biden came back, they came back for 500 million. He knew that you're going to come back for 39 million. They wanted us back so badly, so we'll see what happens.
Mr. President,
Pretty sad to think of it. China pays 39 million and we pay 500 million. And China's a bigger country.
President, you talked about inflation today in your remarks. What actions are you taking today that will have a direct impact for Americans on their everyday costs to bring the cost down?
The biggest factor for inflation is energy. They screwed up my energy policy. And then they went back to it. You know, they hurt it really badly. And then they went back to it. And they started drilling more, but by that time it was too late. Many of these things that we're signing and that Doug Burgum is going to be signing, and Chris Wright, who's phenomenal in energy, Department of Energy. We're going to be taking a lot, we're going to make a lot of money from energy. We have more than anybody else. We're going to make a lot of money from energy. We're going to make a lot of money from tariffs. You know, European Union charges us a VAT tax of 20%, but it's really much higher than that. And that's the equivalent, almost the equivalent of a tariff. They're tough. They're very tough. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take almost anything. And yet we take their cars. We take their farm product. We take a lot from them. So, you know, we have like a $300 billion deficit with the European Union. So we'll straighten that out with either tariffs or they have to buy our oil. The one thing they can do, well, I guess, the one thing they can do to catch up quickly is buy our oil.
Will you travel?
And they should do it.
Will you travel to China this year?
Yeah, could they? I had the invite. I would. Yeah.
The union, the topic is like, what should we notice in the contract? BRICS.
Oh, BRICS. No, I was talking about BRICS. BRICS is 6 nations. I think it's 7 nations. And they were looking to do a number in the United States. And if they do that, I mean, they won't be happy about what's going to happen.
Are you looking to grant universal?
May, yeah, but we're not ready for that yet. we may put it rapid,
Mr. President,
because essentially all countries take advantage of the US. We don't make any good deals with the US. It's amazing in a way that we exist. We don't make good deals. We don't have any good deals. We have a deficit with almost, not all, there are a couple, I won't tell you their names because I don't want them to find out about it because they feel stupid. But there are a couple of countries that actually don't make money with us. But I don't want to let you know because they'll immediately change it. But we're gonna do what we have. It is an amazing economic future. I really believe. Well, you put a universal tariff on anybody doing business in the United States because they're coming in and they're stealing our wealth, they're stealing our jobs, they're stealing our companies, they're hurting our companies. So you put a tariff on to keep them from doing it.
Because you have these records on the
Well, he had a lot of guys, and then they found out they didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I think they deserted him. They deserted him. The same guys. Look, I don't make pretense of smart guys. There are a lot of smart people around, but they did desert him. They were all with him, every one of them. Now they're all with me. It's not anything from me. I don't need money. But I do want the nation to do well. And they're smart people, and they have, they create a lot of jobs. And if they don't do it, China's going to do it. What they've done is they've taken industries and they've taken it away. They outsmarted China. And, we sort of like that. They've done a great job. A lot of them. It's not all of them. Ooh.
when that the World Health Organization, you are president during COVID, don't you see the importance of organization like that to coordinate local response?
Sure, I do, but not when you're being ripped off like we are in the World Health. World Health ripped us off. Everybody rips off the United States, and that's it. It's not going to happen anymore. Thank you very much, everybody.
We can stop to it. Today was very eventful, very amazing. We got a lot done. I'll be back on in about an hour with more coverage of the inaugural ball, the performances, and hopefully he'll do some more speaking, but I'm sure he needs a break by now. I know I do. So I'm going to go eat, and I'll be back on. But now you see why I always say F the World Economic Forum, F the World Health Organization, and F Klaus Schwab. He said it did the same thing. So that was great news. It's glad to see it. We'll be back in a little while. Like and subscribe to the page, and then you'll get alerts when we're back in a little bit. How they say it on that TV show, we'll be back in 2 and 2. So we'll be back in 2 and 2 to go over some more America First daily news coverage.
After a ton of stress and worry because of my super low credit score, we were finally able to sign on my dream apartment. I wouldn't have been able to do it without cosigning.com. I was able to get a guarantor that was signed with me so that I could obtain this amazing apartment.